Okay. Okay. All right.
So,
Good evening. How you doing?
Alright.
I have to log into Steam. It's been a long time since I've had to relog into Steam. And speaking of
Yeah.
which, there are Steam sales on right now. I don't know if there's anything that you're interested in, but
Well, there's lots, but no. Money's tight, so it's not like it.
hey, Ray Guy. Hey, Mask. How you doing? Okay, so check this out. A couple days ago, well, today, I guess you could say, I received something that I bought a couple days ago. This is a 1 pound jawbreaker. I've already started on it. You can see it here. I'll go full screen for a quick second so you guys can see it a little bit better. But basically, I saw it on Amazon and I just felt spontaneous. So, check it out. 1 pound jawbreaker. You just slowly lick it. I don't know. I just saw it and was like, yeah, that seems like something I would like. That seems like something I would do.
Just smell it.
Mm-hmm. It's a hell of a workout for your tongue, man. Oh, did you see the thing I texted you earlier today from admittedly not a very official source, but still interesting.
What's important, and there, because a lot of news came out today. What's important is that the Heat have officially given up on the Lillard pipe dream, which I am super happy about. Because Lillard's a fucking cock tease, dude. Like, he's just constantly teasing everybody in the league, oh yeah, I'll totally leave Portland, but then when it comes down to brass tacks, he's not going to leave. But the funny thing is, Portland at this point may be wanting to get rid of him uh, for doing all this kind of shit, you know?
Yeah, the podcast I listened to the other day compared him to like the woman at the at the club who keeps
Hmm.
saying that she's happily married, but every time they look at her, she's talking to one of the waiters, if you know what I mean.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is a interesting comp, but it has some merit to it.
So, the point of the news is that of all the shit that came out today, the Heat have moved on from Lillard, which is good. Fuck him. But in addition to the Kyrie Irving news, it seems like a done deal that James Harden is getting traded.
Yep, he asked
And
out.
yes, Miami has emerged as one of the candidates to potentially get him.
That would be fun because you could protect him defensively with Bam and Butler.
Right, Miami has an excellent defense. We would immediately be the best defensive team that he's ever been on. And the important thing is that Harden has shown that he's not even close to being washed. He showed that this past season. That he is not even close to being washed, and he still has a lot of good quality talent. You know, he's still the same player that he's always been. Is a good thing. So unless he takes a massive regression in this offseason, he should still be excellent moving forward. So when you think about it, it's like Miami's kind of the perfect place for him to land, because even though he's a career playoff choker, he'd be playing alongside Jimmy Butler, who's a career playoff, like, what is the opposite of a choker? A swallower.
Oh boy.
But there is no way that this Heat team would miss 27 straight threes, is the point. So I'm all like, I like Harden. I like Harden as being the guy that we got to pick up. That would be perfect. Assuming that he's willing to work hard, because that's the thing. You know, Heat culture and the Jermaine O'Neal story and all that kind of shit. I don't know if James Harden, I don't know if that's his style. However, Miami clearly wants a championship out of what they've been doing here. And it's sort of like a Rams style situation where it's all like, you know what, if you get it this year, then who the fuck cares what you gave up in order to get it, you know?
Oh yeah, and that's the right mentality to have. Of course, it sucks if you do that and then you don't win. Like, if the Suns don't win the title in the next few years, my God, what a disaster, but that doesn't mean you don't try.
Exactly, you know, and it's better to burn out than fade away. And, you know, just think about it in this context, because of what the Heat have in terms of assets and what they're likely to lose, both in a trade and then also in free agency. And ask yourself, do you think with the way that this final series would have gone, the Miami Heat would have won if they had James Harden on the team, but in exchange for having James Harden on the team, they didn't have Tyler Hero, Kyle Lowry, or Strus?
I mean, Hero didn't even play, so that's kind of easy, I think.
Exactly. If he's out of there, and then you take Lowry, Lowry had some good big moments, but like obviously Harden's a massive upgrade in every conceivable way.
And Lowry's only going to get worse. He's old.
And Strus, while Strus was extremely valuable during the whole postseason, he wasn't really moving the needle at all. Especially in the grand scheme of things. It's all like, you know, so in exchange for what the Heat did this postseason, Hero, who missed the whole fucking shooting match, get rid of him and then just replace Lowry and Strus with Harden. Like, yes, we're a much better team. Obviously, because you're replacing 3 guys with 1, that means overall you have less depth. But, you know.
I mean, somebody like a JJJ could end up being like a piece of depth that can give you a little something. That's all you need. You don't need.
Right.
So, James Harden has requested more trades than anybody in NBA history at this point, right? Because he's requested 3 separate trades. I think he's got to be the leader now. Because Kyrie has requested 2. Guys like Kobe requested a trade once. Kevin Garnett requested a trade kinda once, but only because the Wolves tried to trade him first.
Kevin Durant.
Yeah, KD. But But yeah, the next few days should be fun when free agency kicks off. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, LeBron doesn't request trades. He just signs a 2-year deal with the second year being a player option.
Yeah, and then he requests that everyone else on the team gets traded, but not him.
Exactly. Right down to the coach, janitor, even the ball boy.
Do you think an NBA GM should try and build an all-white NBA team? I mean, if he's trying to tank, probably. That would be difficult to pull off.
The question is which city would they do it in? The answer is obviously Boston.
Or Utah.
Didn't Boston actually try to do that once? Like at the same time they had Kelly Olynyk and Gordon Hayward on the team.
You think LeBron will retire? No, LeBron's definitely not going to retire a Laker. He's already basically said he wants to play wherever his son gets drafted to. So there's no way that happens. I think that what's going to happen is Vegas gets a team next year. Vegas drafts Bronny James. LeBron goes to Las Vegas for his last year. And then he becomes the part owner of the Vegas team after he retires. That's the play. Makes sense to me. So, the internet has been a lot of fun today, Snacks. I don't know if you've noticed or not. I know you've been busy.
No. I haven't noticed what's up.
Oh, the Supreme Court had a major ruling this morning. You haven't heard of it?
No, I did.
Yeah. So the internet has been a lot of fun. Count Dankula made his return as Justice Dankula to Twitter.
Nice.
And has been fucking with people all day.
No, I like the decision that they had. It's really good because affirmative action was created as a policy during the Nixon administration. And it was part of the ongoing process of desegregation because even though, it was made so it's no longer legal to discriminate based off of race, people would still discriminate based off of race. They're just trying to hide it. They were like, "Oh, well, we didn't hire this black guy. It didn't have anything to do with him being black. We just, he didn't go to college, or whatever." So, affirmative action back then, you could sit there and say, "Okay, I get it," but by this point now, it's been in place for 50 years. Because Nixon resigned in 1973. I think. Either 73 or 74. So it's been in place for at least 50 fucking years. And not only that, but Clarence Thomas himself, and all the time he's been on the bench, he doesn't like affirmative action. Because he's all like, I am one of the most talented legal minds in the history of the United States. I am part of a very short list of people who have served as justices of the Supreme Court of the United States. And yet, in spite of that fact, my entire life, people have just been whispering behind my back, he wouldn't have made it this far if it wasn't for affirmative action. Affirmative action prevents my excellence from being understood as excellence because no one would be able to question my merit without affirmative action. But because of its existence, even though I did not benefit from it, people will just excuse my excellence as being the result of it. So he's hated affirmative action his whole life because of that kind of shit. And unless you've been living under a rock for the last 15, 20 fucking years, it's clear as day that affirmative action by now is doing a hell of a lot more harm than good. You know, to where even if you want to sit there and say that white people don't deserve any kind of benefits or good things to happen to them at all ever, um, Asians end up being affected very negatively by affirmative action because you end up in a situation where when a when a very large number of Asians want to go to a specific school, suddenly it's almost impossible for Asians to actually end up going to that school because there's too many. So at that point, you need to be so good of an applicant that you could basically get into Harvard with ease just to get into UCLA. While at the same time, if you're black, getting into UCLA is like a fucking layup. Or especially if you're an extremely underrepresented minority group. That's why so many people lie about being Native Americans nowadays, is because they're so actually rare and such a very small percentage of the population that if you claim Native American ancestry and write that down on your application, you have a huge increase in the percentage chance that you'll actually make it.
As soon as I finish this fight, I'll link you to one of the tweets that I saw earlier today that got very, very popular very, very quickly for all the wrong reasons. You'll know why in a second here.
Well, anyway, I'm very upset because my fasting has been working out really well for a while now, but I haven't been doing any cheat days. And I remembered why you do cheat days when I weighed myself this morning is because last night I did a fucking excellent job fasting. Man, absolutely, completely excellent job. It doesn't matter because when I weigh in today and compare it to my weigh-in from yesterday, I only lost 0.2 of a pound. I've been averaging a pound a day for the last week and a half. So I'm sitting here like, God damn it. Because what happens is that as you fast, the longer you do it, your body becomes more used to it. And your body becomes more used to it in the sense of, over time, it's starting to realize, okay, food is scarce. So that means we need to hold on to what we've got. So the way that you break through that plateau, break the cycle, is that you have a cheat day. You have a day where you eat big, you eat a lot, you eat a bunch of crap, and then that kind of resets your body's metabolic understanding. And then you go back to actually having your regular progress. It's a pain in the ass that you have to do this.
Yeah. Okay, that first tweet is just for fun. That first tweet is just for laughs, but it's a classic regardless. This is the one I'm talking about.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, man, that's good.
Yeah, that second one is actually the one I was talking about.
Right. Wow. Yeah, yeah. That, they accidentally said the, part they really have been thinking all along, but we're supposed to keep it on the down low. They accidentally said the quiet part out loud.
Hmm. It's like if David Duke had compassion, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. A moron. That's what they really think, though.
And obviously. And as far as I know, no, Santi. I don't think that when I was trying to get into college, me being half Korean affected me at all. But I wasn't trying to get into an Ivy League school or anything. I was just, a good university, but a pretty normal university. So I gotta believe if I had tried to get into Harvard or something, maybe things would have been different.
Now, when you say normal, you mean like,
Not an Ivy League school, not like Stanford or UCLA, just, University of Washington. A
okay,
perfectly fine university.
I thought you meant like BYU. Yeah. Oh man. See, while everyone was sitting there laughing at the Justice Dankula tweet, nobody fell for the bait.
I think everyone kind of, because he's obviously done this before.
Mhm.
Maybe people kind of like have figured out. And while people are obviously upset about this ruling, there's definitely less anger about it than there was about the previous decision. So it's not quite as the same thing, but yeah, you're right.
Wow, that is fucking good. This Justice Dankula tweet. He said, "You need to have the baby, but on the plus side, at least you won't have to worry about paying for them to go to university."
Yeah, I remember that.
Holy shit! That is good.
I don't know, Ryguy. Look it up yourself. How do I know? I don't live in California. I've never tried to get into USC.
And neither did I. Like, I didn't
That's
even have to try to get into SDSU. I just transferred. Like,
yeah.
matter of fact, I didn't try to get into any of the schools that I actually went to. Because I guess I was just lucky because I went to junior college back in the time period. Like, I went to junior college immediately after high school. And this was back during the time period when junior college was so easy for anybody to get into. This, the same junior college that I went to, there's like a years long waiting list to get in now. It's nuts. The ability to then transfer to another school, like I didn't have to try to get into SDSU. I didn't have to try to get into fucking anywhere else that I went to, you know. So as long as you go to a junior college first, you don't need to worry about that kind of shit. Plus, you spend way less money. The only reason anybody wants, well, there's more than one, but they're all the same reasons. The only reason you want to go to the university from the start is because one, you're specifically trying to get a job in a field that will like look down their noses at you if you went to a junior college and you had that on your transcripts or whatever. Meh. You wanted the college experience, or you just specifically wanted to go to that university to have fun.
Yeah, like in the industry that I'm in, at least during the time when I was in school and when I first started looking for work, you really didn't need to go to a great school. It's not like trying to be a lawyer. Like if I was trying to be a lawyer, I wouldn't have wanted to go to the University of American Samoa. Because in real life,
Why
people
not?
look down their nose at you.
Well, yeah, but no land crabs.
And honestly, I'll be perfectly honest, my grades didn't really matter. The first job
Yeah.
interview I ever had, they asked me what my GPA was, and I said what it was, and that was it. They didn't care. As far as I know, they didn't even look it up. I could have said anything.
Right.
And they were just like, okay, let's talk about things we actually care about now. Like your personality. What kind of video games do you like to play? I'm not even kidding. My first interview, the guy wanted to know what kind of video games I played because he wanted to know if he would get along with me if I was on his team.
Oh god. You didn't tell him about all the waifu simulators, did you?
No, I did, and he actually liked those games too, so I may have
Oh
gotten
god.
hired because of waifu simulators. I don't know. It's possible.
Spaced. Alright, I'm gonna DM you something.
Take that.
Alright.
I'll look at it in a second here.
Yeah, take it time.
Oh, come on! I hate that so much! This doesn't seem like it'll be that bad as long as the Mimic actually helps me, but we'll see. I'm gonna try to kill the fat guy first. Because the fat guy gives me problems. The skinny guy does not. Like, something like a master's degree, graduate school, or your PhD or whatever. Like, in my estimation, in my field, that stuff is basically useless. It doesn't really affect your earning potential.
Oh man. Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Because I did outstanding in school. My GPA was 4.0. Like,
In high school or college? What do you mean?
and in college.
Mhm.
And yet here I am, we're going on, it's about to be July. I graduated in December. Still haven't fucking gotten a job.
Yeah. I mean, that's not as much a reflection of you as it is the state of this country and economy right now, right?
Right, but that's the whole point. Is I'm sitting here like, yeah, your grades kind of don't matter for you to get a job because my grades literally couldn't have been better, and here I am.
Mhm. Dude, come on! What do you do when he starts fat rolling like that? Like, what the fuck? He just homes in and hits you 3 times and then you're dead. Like, that was going really well, and then he just decides to fat roll.
I love this one. Somebody took Dankula seriously. Go, my nephew has 1/5 Cherokee and African blood and erectile dysfunction. I don't know why he needed to put that in the tweet, but okay. He's no longer available for a scholarship due to his GPA being below 2.5, which is like less than a C average.
I think that's C+, because 2.0 is a C, I think.
Hold on. What GPA? 2.5 is equivalent to a C plus. Yeah. So that he's literally underperforming.
Yeah.
So the guy says, "Does it make you happy to trot on the already downtrodden?" And then Dank's like, "Only if a little tear came out of his eye, like in that old commercial." Holy shit!
Funny thing is, Dankula is not even really, like, based. Like, these people don't know what based is.
Yeah.
He's just a memer. He's just a shit poster.
Right. Now, what's really funny here is a guy was like, "Extremist judges like you take this country back 100 years," and he just says, "I wish," and that is fucking true because 1923 was an amazing year. Like, Obviously, it wasn't an amazing year if you lived in Germany, but if you lived in the United States, 1923 was an amazing year. I wish, like hell, we went back. Oh my god.
Yep. God bless Calvin Coolidge. My timeline is right? He was president in the 1920s.
I'm reasonably sure that 1923 would have been Warren G. Harding, but I'm not sure.
Okay, I don't mean to be a dick, guys, but I have to ask, how the fuck did you guys manage to get such bad grades in high school? Like, high school is the most trivially easy thing. Yeah, college I get. Like, college is actually hard. I would understand that. But, like, high school? Like, I gotta ask, did you guys just
Yeah.
not give a shit? Because everyone I've ever known who was bad in high school admitted to me, oh, I didn't care.
Yeah, high school's literally a joke. I graduated high school by the skin of my teeth, and keep in mind, like I just said, I graduated from college with a 4.0. Is
Because
because
you
when I
didn't
was in
care.
exactly when I was in high school, I never did my homework ever. The only reason I passed is because I fucking flawlessly passed every exam.
Because you dismantled your teacher's arguments with facts and logic.
Basically. So anyway, Warren G. Harding. Warren G. Harding took office in 1921. He passed away in 1923. So he was succeeded by his vice president, Calvin Coolidge.
Mhm.
So then you had the Roaring Twenties, were literally because of Coolidge. Then along comes fuckwit Herbert Hoover. The reason I call him fuckwit is it's not because he caused the economic situation that created the Great Depression. It was because he decided to get the government involved when the market was already correcting and recovering. And just like that, the whole thing went to shit. Thomas Sowell talks about it a lot. It's really fantastic. Whereas like by the time of the Smoot-Hawley tariffs, which were a huge part of Herbert Hoover's administration, he was fighting for him and all this kind of shit. The concept was that the tariffs would help American businesses and would raise funds for the government to provide bailout funds and all this. And all it really did was convince the entire rest of the world to stop trading with the United States because they were extremely harsh, extremely punitive tariffs. So once that came into effect, and then no one was buying American goods anymore, and everything, the government revenue stream just went. And this is all happening during a time when, again, you've got prohibitions going on. And at the time, the sale of alcohol was actually the fifth strongest component of the American economy. Everything to do with the alcohol business. And then prohibition just, it's like playing Jenga. You just take a humongous block, a load-bearing block, out of the thing at the exact same time that the whole house is shaking from a massive earthquake. You get what you get. Even still, had Hoover remained in office, he may have been able to not cause as much damage as FDR did. FDR completely fucked the entire country to pieces because, as FDR often said, and has been quoted saying many times, he admired the dictators of Europe, he admired Mussolini, he admired Hitler, he admired the idea of fascism and communism, because both of them had the same authoritarian central planning component that FDR wanted. He wanted to be king in America. He wanted to have complete control over everything. So he admired those guys, and he massively increased the size and power of the central federal government. and caused a great deal of damage to the economy. And what caused the economy to not suck anymore was the war, when suddenly you take millions upon millions of American laborers, put them in a uniform, and send them to Europe and Southeast Asia to go fight. So then, just like that, millions of jobs open up, so everybody who had been unemployed now has a job. Sale of war bonds and the government writing a blank check to defense contractors meant that literally you didn't need any kind of qualifications, you didn't need any kind of effort, or you didn't need to try in order to find a job. All you had to do was just go to the city. Which also is what helped kill a lot of, because by the time that World War II started, almost half the country was employed on family farms. And obviously that number shrinks to a minuscule percentage by the end of the war, and that was a huge reason why, is because if your son and husband didn't go to fight in the war, then what they ended up having to do was leave the farm so they could move to the city to go work for the defense contractors to manufacture tanks, bullets, guns, cans of beans, shit like that.
Yep.
And so on. Anyway, the moral of the story is that if Calvin Coolidge, instead of FDR, was the first American president to have more than 2 terms in office, I don't think the Great Depression happens. Moreover, I think life as an American would have been much better over the last 100 years. But the point is, 1923 is when he took office, so 1923 was an amazing fucking year.
It is believed by many, although it can never be confirmed, that Calvin Coolidge's last words before he passed away were, "I don't think this era is meant for me, people like me," because it was, FDR had just really started to seize power. Oh, is he gonna revive his friend? I think he just did, yeah. Okay, we're not gonna be able to do this fight yet, I can tell you that right now. Need to make my Ash summon a lot stronger, I think. Turn my mic up. What are you talking about, Drop Top? I haven't turned it down.
See, this is this is crazy, man. It's like there's a lot of people on Twitter who are saying, like that one broad did with the tweet, that all getting rid of affirmative action is going to do is make sure that no black person gets to go to college ever again. And it's funny, because yeah, there will be a lot less black people in American universities because a lot of them did make it through affirmative action based policies. However,
Right.
that's because, in the same way where you need an SAT score of like 1,500 to get in if you're Asian or white, you only need an SAT score of like 900 to get in if you're black. That doesn't mean that there are no black people who will achieve. It just means that there are a lot of black people who are in positions that they really ought not to be in, who only got there because they were black. And I don't understand why it's supposed to be a good thing when you're literally less capable than other people to end up in a position over them.
I just sent you a fun Twitter thread as well on the topic, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much the thing. It's like, look, if you deserve to succeed, you will continue to succeed. And if there's less black people who succeed, try harder. Like, Because no one has to sit there and tell Asians to work harder. No one. To me, that's one of the most enduring videos of the last decade. To me, is you had a Black Lives Matter protest on a college campus, and they were doing it in the library. So while they're hooting and hollering and doing their dumbass chants, a Chinese immigrant student, a foreign exchange student, came up and said, "Hey, this library." He was telling them to shut the fuck up. That was all he said, and then he walked away. And as he's walking away, of course, the black students who were doing the protest start chanting a bunch of racial slurs right at him.
Hmm.
I'm sitting here like, okay, you protesting wouldn't have made it into the school if it wasn't for affirmative action. This guy had to work twice as hard because of the way that quotas say there are too many Asians here, so we actually need to make it even more difficult for you to get in. This guy worked twice as hard as you did, literally, and still got in. And you're interrupting his study time because you, for whatever dumbass reason, thought that it was a good idea to hold a protest in a fucking library.
My mom tonight at dinner was talking about how, like, in America, even Asian people who like work in factories and stuff, their children routinely go to college and graduate from college and end up, moving up, having, that upward mobility from where your parents were. And like this is a very common thing. And she was talking about some stats she saw where like how rare it was for like that to happen with African Americans. And I said, yeah, it basically only happened to Ben Carson.
Pretty much. And that's another thing. Ben Carson is one of the finest neurosurgeons that the world has ever seen. But because of the various things that he said about history, because he has a lack of understanding about history, that just means that he's ignorant in that one topic. It doesn't mean that he's any less of an extraordinary brain surgeon. He's still an extraordinarily intelligent man. But between that and the fact that he was running for the Republican Party, all of a sudden you had all these people who are the same ones right now saying no black person will ever go to college again. Oh my God. Sitting there saying, "Oh yeah, he's really stupid," and then they would fucking claim that affirmative action is the only reason he got there. And so, like, this guy is the first person in the history of the world to perform brain surgery on a fetus in the womb successfully. By the way, not just some fucking having a laugh and just fucking killing the thing for no reason. So he would have had no problem succeeding. Still, even if there wasn't affirmative action. Because when you listen to him tell the story of his youth, he had that moment where he decided to start working hard. And I don't know if it was you that showed me or if I might have seen it just on myself going through Twitter the other day, but there was a stat that popped up, something about being raised in a home with with both birth parents there. And in American households, obviously African Americans are at the lowest level, where the birth mother and the birth father are both in the household raising the child at the same time is the lowest number. But the highest number is Asians.
Right.
And it's all like, well, you look right there. That's why they fucking succeed. Is because they have an excellent culture based around the concept of hard work and family sticking together and pushing yourself as hard as you can to give yourself a better life and to then give your children a better life and to keep moving forward generation by generation. That's exactly what builds nations. It's why China's coming from like 100 years ago. By this point in history, China was a few years removed from getting rid of the emperor and was about to begin another civil war where it would enter into the warlord period, which was decades of instability. And they would fight a war against Japan, and then as soon as the war against Japan was finished, they would then resume the civil war, the communists versus the nationalists. And then by the end of it, you have the People's Republic of China's established, but we're talking about desperate levels of poverty, tens of millions of people starving to death every year because of famine, lack of agricultural understanding, Mao doing insane things like, I really hate sparrows. It's your duty as a patriotic Chinese citizen to go kill these sparrows. But the sparrows ate a certain type of insect, which actually feeds off of the rice crop. So then suddenly millions of people are starving again because of shit like that. And on and on and on and on and on. So we're almost half a century removed from that kind of fucking instability. And then you look at China now, easily the second strongest country on the planet, both militarily and economically, and sprinting towards the future in what is going to be called the Chinese century. And why? Because they have a fucking culture like this, designed around the family, designed around raising your children in a stable environment and convincing them to push themselves and move forward. And obviously not just the Chinese, but also every Asian culture and ethnicity, Koreans, Japanese, Vietnamese, Thai, Indians especially. Like it's an innate part of the fucking culture that they've had for thousands of years to actually function as regular human beings. And you just throw them into America in the current fucking mind virus brainworms fucking time period where there's all this topsy-turvy clown world bullshit, and of course they're the only ones who are actually successfully navigating these waters. They never needed affirmative action. And if Asians never needed it with the history of discrimination that they've gone through in this country, then why the fuck would anybody else? Just work harder.
Don't they still have black-only colleges, or have those been all retired by the
Um,
HBCUs?
I don't necessarily think that they're around in that sense. However, they do have a strong preference for accepting only black ethnicity students.
Hmm.
So the answer to that question, I would say, in all but name, yes.
I don't know. I don't think that's the worst idea. Do
Yeah, I mean,
things like that.
there's a million other fucking things that they could be doing. You know, like, oh god. Yeah, I'm continuing to read this, the latest tweet that you sent me. Her argument's that they have much lower IQs in general, but still deserve a shot because they're still equal as human beings. So if we don't prop them up, they'll fail and live like they do in Africa. What the fuck?
Yeah, literally David Duke with compassion.
Right. It's our duty as Christians to help those born without the right tools to navigate the world. She might be more racist than me. What do you mean might? That is a million fucking percent. She is absolutely more racist than you.
Hmm.
Because you don't infantilize them. You sit there and say, if you want to succeed, then work hard. What's wrong with that? You know, and that's the funny thing is because exactly like he's saying, if you're the kind of person sitting there saying, why do you need this, just work harder, what you're saying is you're not innately disadvantaged by being born black. Work harder and get the same shit that everyone else wants, because they have to work hard too. If you sit there and say that work hard isn't a good enough response, and what you're saying is you think that black people are innately inferior, and that by being born black, you're innately disadvantaged for no other reason than you're African.
Hmm.
That is the definition of racism. So it's all like, dude, just work harder. Fucking,
Yeah.
if Ben Carson can do it, so can you. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, there was another tweet from some wannabe politician in Texas that was like, today was a big win, a big victory for white supremacy. And people kept replying it to be like, yeah, let me tell you, those whites had to do a lot of film study, spend a lot of extra time in the locker room to get this W.
Yeah,
Everybody thought they were underdogs, but they came through at the end, man. It was pretty good.
absolutely hilarious. They just played whoever offense on Obama. Jesus Christ. No, but, um, well, like, again, it's like I've been talking about. The people who should be happiest about this are Asians. Because in the same way affirmative action was helping not just blacks, but plenty of other minority groups that were underrepresented to be able to get what they didn't deserve. Uh, affirmative action has been holding Asians back to a great deal. Now, I don't think this means that every Asian person ever is going to get into UCLA, but like this is a massive amount of help that Asians are actually going to get because they're no longer having to have that fucking albatross around their neck of, oh, I'm sorry, you did an excellent job of working hard your entire life, it's just that you're the wrong skin color for that. What a crock of shit. I can't think of anything more unfair than to say that you genuinely deserve something, but you didn't get it. Because somebody else was told that they deserved it more, not because they outperformed you and outachieved you, but simply because of the color of their skin.
You know, I would wonder because I actually genuinely don't know this. When did colleges start dis- using race as a factor in accepting applications? Because obviously today the Supreme Court ruled it was unconstitutional, which must mean they were doing it for some time. But I wonder how
Since ni-
long.
since 1978.
So that was Gerald Ford. Okay.
No, actually, by that time, Jimmy Carter was in office.
Ah, okay. There we go.
Yeah, Ford finished out the rest of Nixon's term until 1970. It was a 76 election, but Carter took office January 1977. So, affirmative action was signed into law by LBJ, but LBJ, because he himself was an extraordinary racist, he didn't care that people were dragging their feet. So that's why I was bringing up Nixon earlier, is because Nixon was the first president who enforced the desegregation policies that had been put in place by JFK and LBJ. He was the first one who said, well, they're not fucking doing it, so let's just get in there and make them do it. Wow. Oh man, this guy's fucking aunt just continues to dig a deeper and deeper hole.
Aunt?
He's all like,
Oh,
yeah,
aunt. Okay.
yeah, uh,
Oh, you're
she,
reading the image, the picture of the
right,
text, wall of text. Yeah.
yeah. I'm not trying to be racist, but there's obviously a difference between whites and Asians and African Americans. They're good people and still God's children, but they're not biologically adapted to this kind of environment. You talk about the black crime rate. Yes, I agree, it's huge, but this is how we lower it. Really? It's been in place for almost 50 years. Crime's only been going up. Like,
Yeah.
it's not how you lower it.
Apparently, there was a black guy who
Jesus.
sent in his college application to, it might have been Stanford, I don't know. And their application essay was that they wrote Black Lives Matter 100 times. That's all the essay was, and apparently they got in. I don't know if it was Stanford or not, but it was a college.
I don't know if I showed you the video or if you showed me the video or if I just wanted to show you the video but I was incapable and probably just told you about it. But I was watching a guy. It was a young fella who was in his senior year of high school and he was doing all of his college entrance blah blah blahs. This guy applied to every Ivy League school, and he had an Ivy League application. Let me tell you, like he ticked all the fucking boxes that people look for. He had the highest possible GPA that you can achieve. So, you know, with AP classes giving you the boost and everything, so things like a 5.0 GPA or something. He had a perfect score on the ACT. He had an almost perfect score on the SAT. He was captain of 2 sports teams and was involved in a ton of other extracurriculars. He had a shitload of community service and things that he did around the community. He's basically like, not only is he the perfect applicant to any college that you'd want him to go to, but if this guy said that he wanted to date and marry your daughter, you'd fucking roll out the red carpet for him. You're like, this kid's
Yeah.
on the fast track to success in life. He is He grabbed life by the horns and he's fucking its mouth. Like, this kid is taking off.
He's like the LeBron James of college
Right.
prospects, but instead of for basketball, it's for academics.
Right. And he was live streaming on Twitch. He was going to open them all at the same time. All of his acceptance letters from every Ivy League school. Kid was white. He got rejected by every single fucking college. Now, because he's that level of student, his friends are also going to be that level of student. So while he's live streaming, he has a black friend and an Asian friend right next to him, and they're watching as all this going on, and they're like, I don't understand why you didn't get into any. I got in.
And then he's like, "Don't worry, I know. I know why."
Yeah. You know. And I'm sitting here and I'm all like, that's exactly correct. Because his black friend probably got into all of them. His Asian friend's a little disappointed because yes, he did get into MIT, but he got rejected by UCLA. Actually, I don't even understand why UCLA is so popular among Asians because while it's a very good school, it's not the best at anything. Plus, why would you even want to be in LA? I don't get it.
I mean, maybe they really like basketball, and UCLA's the best college basketball school ever. I don't know.
Heh. That would be pretty amusing. Yeah, I don't know. None of this shit makes any sense to me, is pretty much all I've got to say. It's just so stupid. This is great. Dank, I will single-handedly end the welder shortage.
You know, I
Uh,
remember they have this thing in
oh,
college football. They call it affirmative maction. And basically, what it is, the idea is every few years, college football decides, you know what? We need to let one of these small schools into the college football playoff because they go undefeated against their easy schedule. And they're like, you know what? We got to give them a chance. We got to give them a chance to go prove they're the best team in college football. Yeah, we know that there are probably like 20 major schools that are all better than them. Even like our mediocre big schools are better than this one, but they won all their games, so we're going to put them in the college playoff. And then they get annihilated by whoever they play in the college football playoff. And, you know,
right.
it's usually a team in the MAC conference, so they call it affirmative maction. And
It's
that's,
hilarious.
yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Man, quick aside. This tweet really puts it into perspective. Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie have combined for 7 trade requests in less than 2 seasons. And these guys were all teammates at one point.
Hmm. Yeah. Not to sound like an old man or anything, but you you do miss the era when most superstars just played their whole career for one team. Like it doesn't feel like that's coming back anytime soon.
Yeah, because I mean, I would have thought Giannis for sure would do it in Milwaukee, but seeing Milwaukee blow up, I don't think it's going to happen now. Jokic, I absolutely could see it, because, like, why would he care? Because obviously he wants to win, but he doesn't want to win based off of, like, he dreams of the Hall of Fame career, he dreams of the accolades. It's just like, I want to be the best so that I can make the most money. So, like, as long as Denver keeps paying him, he'll, like, dude, he's like, I got no reason to leave. Fuck, he'd love it if they gave him a supermax and then they missed the playoffs every year. Because he'd be like, dude, this is awesome. I get to go home sooner. But it's like Jokic could probably definitely do it. But
Curry, Curry, unless he plays the last year of his career in Charlotte because of his dad. That's like the only thing that could
right,
happen with Curry, but otherwise he's going to retire a Warrior.
I'm definitely thinking Embiid's gonna leave the Philadelphia because They're already fucking blowing it up right now, moving away from the Doc era, and then all of a sudden Harden's requesting a trade. It's like, okay, well, somehow you've got to find the magical way to restructure a team around Embiid to continue to compete. Otherwise, why would he stay?
Mhm.
And it's hilarious that Harden's out here fucking requesting a trade, considering what Embiid said after they lost in the playoffs. Because Embiid was all like, "Hey, me and Harden can't win by ourselves." And it's all like, well, if you couldn't win with you and Harden, you damn sure can't win with just you.
Yeah.
Oh
What
man.
if it was a trade? There was a trade, basically straight up. There might be a little bit more thrown in. Harden for Paul George. That would be kind of interesting, I think.
Well, that's the funny thing is that it seems like the leading team to get Harden is the Clippers, but the reason he wants to go to LA is so that he can be there with Kawhi and Paul George. He wouldn't want one of them to be dished out in exchange for him to just play with the
Yeah.
other.
There isn't a lot else the Clippers can give up.
Exactly. And that being the case, it would be interesting to see him on the Clippers to play with Kawhi. Paul George with Embiid would be very mid. And that's just because Embiid sucks.
Like the Knicks and the Sixers are in the same division, so I don't feel like they're going to trade Harden to the Knicks unless there's literally nothing else they can do.
Harden to the Knicks would be a terrible, terrible idea because, like, Brunson's their best player. Okay, so why would you add a ball dominant guard to a team that already has their best player as a ball dominant guard? If Randall was their best player and Brunson was just like some dude, I could get it.
Well, the thing is, Harden is used to playing with other ball dominant players like Chris Paul in Houston, Durant and Westbrook in OKC. He has experience, Durant and Kyrie in Brooklyn.
Yeah, while that's true and everything, my overarching point is that doesn't exactly lead to success. Plus,
Mm-hmm.
they probably have to get rid of Brunson in order to get Harden, wouldn't they?
Oh,
Unless the trade would be for Randall.
I mean, that's probably what it would be, right? Like, because Randall's good, but he's had two straight playoff no shows, and Randall's clearly the better player, so maybe that would be like the
Yeah.
change of scenery trade.
Yeah. You never know. Wow, it's hilarious because all the comments in that guy's Twitter thread talking about his aunt is everyone's like, dude, your aunt is actually based. I actually really like her. Wow.
The scary thing is, apparently, his aunt is a doctor.
They also can't find the DMV. That's why voter ID is racist.
Yeah, I remember all that.
Oh man, that's good shit. It's good, high quality stuff.
As weird as this is, too, it's kind of nice to know that there are a couple of justices on the Supreme Court who don't like each other. Like, they're too chummy. I don't like it sometimes. Like, you guys should hate each other. So apparently, the new SCOTUS judge, Jackson, Kentani Brown Jackson, or whatever her name is,
Yeah.
and Clarence Thomas seem like, based off the statements they made about each other in their um, conclusions on this case, seems like they have a genuine dislike for one another. So that's kind of cool.
That that makes a lot of sense because Clarence Thomas is a black man and Jackson's a black woman. No one hates the other more than black men and black women. I almost feel like black man and black woman pairings are less common than black men white woman pairings in modern world.
Maybe.
Like, good grief. You can't treat people like shit for decades and then not expect something like this to happen.
Like, apparently Clarence Thomas and Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Anthony Scalia were best friends, and I don't like that. That doesn't feel right. That makes me feel like I'm getting played.
Yeah, because Clarence Thomas and Scalia being best friends, hell yeah. RBG being in there, it's like, oh, son of a bitch.
Getting played.
Exactly. Especially because of that last part of RBG's name.
Remember when she thought Lindsey Graham was a woman because of his name?
uh,
That was pretty good.
remember when she died like 8 months before they announced it, but they were trying like hell to keep it quiet?
Weekend at
Or,
Ruth's.
yeah, seriously. Oh, God.
I still love that video of somebody telling Trump for the first time that she was dead, and he's like on the tarmac of an airport about to get into the Air Force One, and a reporter tells him, "Sir, have you heard about da da da?" And he's like, "Oh, really? No, that's the first I'm hearing of it." It felt like a scene in a movie. Like you almost never get to see things like that anymore. A genuine reaction. Like, all that stuff is always behind closed doors. You don't really know who says what and who does what. So to have this a moment where you actually get to see somebody be told something kind of shocking live, and it's just an unfiltered reaction that nobody can spin.
Right.
God damn.
Is Sandy in the stream right now? Because he just sent me a DM.
I think he is.
As if he is, then I can respond in
I'm
chat.
pretty sure he's in the stream right now. I'm playing Elden Ring, so I'm not spoiling anything for him. Yeah, he's in the stream.
Okay, so the DM he sent me is it seems like if you want to date a black woman, you should date a Dominican or Afro Cubana, right? And that's the point. You really have addressed the issue here. The problem with American black women is it's not an innate genetic thing. That's not the case at all. What it is it's a cultural issue. So yes, if you want to date a black woman, just go outside the United States to find one. It doesn't matter where in the world she's from, what culture she's immersed herself in. As long as it's not the poisonous, toxic US culture, then she's fine. That is true of not just black women, but almost all women in the United States. There's a great deal of sense that it makes when you look at how popular on the dating scene immigrant women are. And it's not because people are so eager to race mix, it's because they're like, oh wow, she's completely removed from the toxic American culture. That means she's actually a good woman. I mean, look at how much people fawn over immigrant women from Europe too. You know, it doesn't just have to be that she's not white. It's just that she's not from America, so she's normal. At least to an extent. I'm not going to sit here and say that British women are normal.
Yeah, no. About French women.
I don't have any experience there. Yeah, Sandy, that's pretty much it. Like, if basically they can't be more than a third generation immigrant. If their parents are immigrants or if their grandparents are immigrants, and that's still okay. But if their great grandparents were immigrants, now you're like, okay, she's poison. Which is how you end up with a lot of Asian women in communities where there's been a large Asian population for a long time, have completely immersed themselves in a poisonous American culture and have become substandard. Like a lot of Asian women in San Francisco are awful because they're like fifth or sixth generation by this point. You know, like their ancestors came here at the turn of the century, kind of shit. So like they're just as fucking terrible as any other woman.
How can you trust any woman who, or any person for that matter, who lives in such squalor and filth?
Exactly.
I say as I haven't vacuumed my room for like a month.
Oopsie. Anyway, where has the time gone? I've got to get ready for work.
Alright, so you're working tonight, but not tomorrow night, right?
Yes, this is my Friday.
Alright, well, good luck. I will see you soon.
Keep it's easier to remember it this way. Um, I'm essentially on a normal schedule, you know, Monday through Friday, and then with weekends off. If you think about it in terms of morning, is the end of my day.
Alright,
So Friday morning's the end of my day, which means that okay, now I have my weekend starts.
sounds good to me, man.
Yeah, all right. So I will go now. Take it easy.
Okay, see you later. I think this is where I came from. But maybe not if there are these guys here. How do I kill that thing, by the way? I don't have ranged attacks, so... Can I go back and go up? That side, maybe? Yeah, I really don't want to fight these guys. They don't give me anything for beating them, really. It's like a waste of my time. But I'm probably going to have to, because I can't open the map when they're there. Oh, well, maybe this is the path. And I can just cut through here. Yeah, this might be what I was looking for. This might be perfect. Let's see. Yeah. Don't feel like I'm supposed to go down the waterfall, but... Well, it's a pretty small drop here. Maybe this is it. Oh. God, I feel like I've been here before, unfortunately. At least that doesn't really do real damage to me anymore. You know what the silver fireflies do? I go under the... God, the layout of this place is really annoying. Son of a bitch. What if I started here? Ugh. Oh, there's no way up here. This is obviously not what we wanted. Okay, is there a way to start from up here? No. You know. Under the bridge. Right around here. Looks like. Oh, wait. When they say under the bridge... Fudge. There's nothing down here. There's no... How... Unless I'm supposed to, like, get these things open somehow. Um. Okay, yeah, I did beat this guy. Rainy's quest line. Um, sure. This can't be her.
Wait, weren't you? Well, you're back. Goodbye for now.
Liurnia of the Lakes. Head west. You know. Come on, Gord. Okay, so clearly I can get there. Why is this so hard? You gotta be kidding me. Fuck. Okay. Is this it? Wow, I haven't been there? Huh. Okay. Uh, wow. So I gotta get over there somehow, I guess. Okay, I think I know what I'm gonna do here. Fine. Well, I don't think I can get up from here. Yeah, I can't. That's annoying. Alright, let's try from over here. I'm really... Is there like some sort of hidden entrance in here? so confused by the layout of this area, man. Like, how do I get over there? This is... If I go here and go left. I'll try that. I know the name. I don't really know anything about him, though, Austin. No, what if I got way up? Oh, yeah, Aaron? What are you talking about? Alright, so that doesn't really do me any good. I will be switching over games in a few minutes, by the way, guys. I'm going to go over to Final Fantasy 16 in a second here. We did manage to beat that boss, which is great, but I think we've got some serious work to do before we can beat the next one. Wait a minute. Oh, shit. Surviving that. Fuck. I really don't like the way this place is laid out. It's so hard to get over there. And it shouldn't be. This is actually a really early point in the fucking game. I'm doing good though, Aaron. Oh, man. I do not understand the layout of this place. The thing is, once I figure it out, it'll be trivial. There's got to be some way to get up there. I feel like if I get up there, all my problems would go away. But I'm going to go ahead and stop for a little bit, do some stuff, and then switch over to Final Fantasy 16. So give me a little bit of time, guys. I'll see you guys shortly. Thanks for hanging out. See you guys soon.